So, the past couple of weeks, I've been severely lacking in multiple areas of my life, and it all culminated in sparring yesterday. So, if you don't know, you probably don't. Maybe you do because you know me in real life, but I do kickboxing. And yesterday, I went to my training and I got my ass beat. This bruise you see, it's not real, it's fake. I asked my sister to do my makeup. I tried to do it myself first, but I couldn't really do it, make it look realistic. But I got my sister to make this bruise, so hopefully you clicked on the video. It's a little clickbaity, but whatever. I still got my ass beat, and it made me realize a couple of things. Um, yeah, so to give you an idea, I've been unemployed for almost 2 months now, and during that time, I've done some good stuff, but mostly I've been doing bad stuff. During the first 2 weeks, maybe I was really enjoying the unemployment because I got to do a lot of stuff that I haven't been doing because I was overworked. I got to hang out with friends more. I had been doing more sports. I was going to my kickboxing training consistently. I was skateboarding. I even took up running. Sometimes I'll do a calisthenics workout here and there. And at first it was really good. But then, after 2, 3 weeks of unemployment, you start to get a little complacent. And that's what I've been doing for a month and a half at this point, is being complacent. I'll wake up, I'll grab my phone, I'll scroll on Instagram. I won't even make myself proper breakfast. I'll just have some cookies that are in the cupboard sometimes. And that's how I'll spend my day, inside doom scrolling all day, not doing anything productive and feeling really bad about it. And so yesterday I got confronted with how lacking I've been. Half an hour before the training, I was in my bed. I was drinking Red Bull because I needed that pick me up because I'd smoked za earlier in the day, which is like a pretty bad practice. If you do indulge in the za, I would probably recommend you do it at the end of the day when you've done all your stuff, because what I've been doing is smoking it during the day in the hopes that I'll get my creative juices flowing, but it never helps with that, or at least in my experience. And so half an hour before the training, right, I'm drinking my Red Bull. I'm in a bit of a hazy blur because of the za I smoked, and I knew that the training was gonna suck right away because my body wasn't feeling well, and mentally I also wasn't there. But I figured, fuck it, you've been lacking all day long, so I won't give myself the liberty of skipping training this time. And so I went, and while the training was heavy, partly because of myself, being lacking and all this, it was also quite heavy because Sensei figured, you guys can take it. He made us do 100 knees in one go, and then like 3 leg kicks on the left, 3 leg kicks on the right, and then 5, and then 7, and then 10. All in one go, super intense stuff. And mentally, I was like, fuck, and physically, I was like, fuck, because I almost threw up during training, if I'm being real with you. Like, it was bad. And then for the first 45 minutes we do the strength and conditioning and technique training, and then we get to the sparring. And like I said, I wasn't feeling well that day. And so once we get to the sparring, I get my ass whooped. I've never been beaten this badly in my life, and of course it's part of the game. You sign up for combat sports. You can't expect to never get your ass kicked. It happens, but it never happened this severely to me, and it made me realize something. And that's the reason that I got my ass kicked this badly, is because of all the small poor decisions I've been making in my daily life. And well, it was almost a spiritual experience, really, because a lot of people think that the mind, body, and spirit are separate entities, different facets of being. But I believe that they are more closely linked than we tend to give it credit for, because my body was experiencing some severe punishment, and so my mental was also taking a toll, right? During the sparring, I had 5 sparring partners, 2-minute rounds, and I got my ass handed to me by every single one of them. And I felt hopeless during the sparring. Nothing was landing, and I was getting clipped left and right, and I would kick someone in the shins, and my leg would hurt more than theirs probably. And it was awful. It was awful. I really felt hopeless. And when I got home, I was battered, bruised, and broken. And so what did I do? I just stared at a wall for half an hour. I sat in the feeling, and that's something that I really needed. My body was broken, and so was my spirit. And on the way home, I was philosophizing. I was thinking to myself, how did I let it get to this point? And when I got home, immediately you feel the urge to numb yourself, right? To forget about this bad day you've had, this beating you've received. But this time, I was like, no, you're gonna sit in this for a little while. And so I did. Like I said, I stared at a wall for half an hour, and a lot of thoughts came rushing in. And what it boiled down to is that I never want to feel this way ever again. And so, what am I getting at? Confrontation, man, it's good sometimes. I recommend everyone gets their ass kicked every once in a while. It doesn't have to be in a physical sense, such as combat sports, kickboxing in my case. But I don't know, if you like drawing, for example, and you've been neglecting this hobby of yours, go ahead and give yourself like a really difficult task. Try to draw, and you'll notice that because you've been neglecting this, it doesn't come as easy as you would hope. And this is a good thing, because it can make you change your perspective. It did for me. Because, like I said, I don't ever want to feel this way again. And so I'm gonna try making small but meaningful changes in my life, because if you try to 180 your life right away, throw your phone out and go full monk mode, it doesn't work most of the time, And it's in the small things you do in your daily life that you can make the changes, right? Like, instead of grabbing your phone first thing in the morning, go make some coffee, sit on a balcony for half an hour, and just be in the silence, because the silence is something I've been avoiding for a long time now. I've been filling my mind with noise all day, every day. And while that nagging feeling was in the back of my head saying to me that, you shouldn't be doing this, you should be doing something else, when you don't sit in the silence, when you numb yourself with all different kinds of stuff, you miss out on a lot of things. And that's basically the confrontation I received yesterday. I got my ass kicked, and that's when I realized, I need to make some changes in my life. And so what I'm gonna do is try to detox a little bit. Like I said, I don't think going monk mode right away will do the job. It's gonna have to be in the small actions you take in your daily life. But the most important lesson for me is to not numb myself with social media, with noise, with weed or alcohol or cigarettes or anything, you know. Like sometimes it's good to have that nagging feeling in the back of your head because it tells you go out and do stuff, go change your life, go change the world. And yeah, my advice is sit in the silence sometimes. It's not pleasant, just like getting my ass beat wasn't pleasant. But sometimes you do need that kind of confrontation. Sometimes you do need to do the unpleasant stuff for you to can improve your life, right? Yeah, that's all I have.